Hi guys, I'm Sonia and today is World Mental Health Day, and I wanted to share something that I experienced with depression during pregnancy over 5 years ago now. I haven't shared this before. This is the first time I am talking about this, and I think it's a really big deal. If you're watching this, you're probably a pregnant mom. And I really hope with all my heart that this sharing gives you solidarity and helps you to know that other people feel this too. So a lot of people talk about postnatal depression, and that's depression after you've had the baby, and it's very common, and it used to be silenced, nobody really spoke about it, and now everybody knows about it. But this is depression while you're pregnant, which is what I had. It wasn't throughout my pregnancy, it was from 6 weeks to 12 weeks in my first trimester. It's really probably the darkest chapter of my life, but one that now looking back, I'm grateful that I had. In fact, very soon after looking back, I was grateful that I had that experience, because up to that point, if people spoke to me about depression, I thought what they meant was what I had experienced up until that point. I'm kind of feeling a bit blah. I don't feel excited about life. My biorhythms are out of sync, you know, that kind of stuff. We all get that. Everybody gets that. We're humans, so we don't always have this continuous high with life. We have biorhythms and they are often out of sync, and we just have to ride them out. I now know that when I get into those moods, I just go to my yoga mat and I do more yoga, because moving my energy helps to move my mental energy, and I just feel brighter about things. But today I'm going to talk to you about what I went through when I was pregnant. So I was 6 weeks pregnant. I was in an ashram in San Francisco at the time when my morning sickness hit me. Overnight, smells, food, everything just repulsed me. I couldn't eat a thing. I couldn't even drink water. Just trying to keep sips of water down was quite a big deal for me. And my normal weight is about 58 kilograms. And I literally went from 58 to 51 kilograms in a matter of weeks. I couldn't eat anything, I couldn't keep anything down. Everything that I normally loved in life, like yoga, actually made me feel sick. And it's so hard for me to think about the way that felt, because when my other half would say, just try and do some yoga, I was almost angry. Like, I hate yoga. I hate everything about yoga. He was like, well, try and listen to the people that you love, you know, Wayne Dyer, Sonia Doubell, you know, you love those people. They always make you feel so good when you listen to them. Listen to those guys. I was like, I don't want to listen to all that spiritual rubbish. And I really was in that place. I used to just sit and stare out of the window. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to sleep. I couldn't eat anything. I know that I was happy that I was pregnant. I wanted to have a baby, but at that time, it all felt so dark that I was like, I don't want to have a baby. I don't want to be a mom. I had times where I felt so dark. I was like, I don't even know what the point of life is. Like, what are we all doing here? What am I doing here? And I would phone my mom. At the time we had pre-planned this beautiful trip around the States of, like, you know, going to Wyoming, and actually one of the places we had planned to go to was Vegas, because we had had such an amazing time there when my partner and I first met. We were like, hey, let's go and revisit that time. Well, we had it all scheduled, but as you can imagine, it was terrible. The whole holiday was terrible. There I was in this beautiful place, Wyoming, huge country, big mountains, this gorgeous place, and I hated every second. I didn't go anywhere. I wouldn't leave the hotel room. I just sat on the sofa, refusing to eat because everything made me feel so terrible. And I would call my sisters and my mom, and I remember my mom was just, you know, crying, saying, please stop saying that you don't want to live anymore. Please just stop saying that. And I remember going, no, don't worry, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. Like, if I'm not here, it doesn't really matter. And that's the darkness of the place I went to. And it lasted for 6 weeks. while we were traveling, it got worse, and I was losing weight. And you know, if you don't eat and you don't drink water just normally, you're not going to feel good, right? Because that food is our sustenance, it's our life force. But couple that with the hormones that are going on in your body during early pregnancy, it is not for everybody, of course, but for some people, it takes you to that really, really awful place. And that's where it took me. The problem was, because it was my first time being pregnant, I didn't know that this was an okay thing to feel. So I felt really, really alone. And I had only been able to speak to another mom who said to me, babes, this is gonna pass. Guess what? I had this too. And then that would have made it okay. But I felt so alone because I scoured the internet for, you know, information about early pregnancy depression and things like that, and I couldn't find anything. Anyway, needless to say, Vegas was a complete disaster. We had the most beautiful room and it looked disgustingly ugly to me, and everybody stank of alcohol and cigarettes, and I could almost smell gamblers. It's just horrible. I'm sorry, because I love Vegas, I do. It's lots of fun, but at the time it was horrible for me. And you know, when you're pregnant, you know, in your first trimester, your senses become so heightened. I was like a wolf. I could smell like things miles away, and I was really horrible to be around. I look back at that time and I feel so bad for my partner because he tried so hard, running to every store that he could find to find something that I just mentioned I might be able to eat. When he got back, I couldn't eat it. I was like, oh, that's disgusting. No, mashed potato, no. It's everything I just couldn't do. It was really a tough time. When we got back to London, he decided that, okay, that's it. I'm going to book you at this really famous institution where people go for addiction and they go for therapy and they all recover so wonderfully. The therapists are meant to be amazing. So he books me into this place. I walk in and I'm really subdued at this point. You know, I'm so weak from not eating. The hormones are going crazy and I hate everyone and everything. I know, yeah, I did, including myself. I didn't want to be me. I didn't want to be in my own skin, let alone have a baby. So I think, okay, well, look, I'm going to go and see this therapist at this famous institution, and here they fix everybody. So they're going to fix me, right? So I go in, and this woman was awful. She made me feel so much worse. I wish I'd never gone. I sit down in her chair and I say to her really honestly, because I think like this is the time that you just really honest, right? Like, look, I've had thoughts of not wanting to live anymore. I know I shouldn't think this, but I don't want to be a mom. I feel really dark. I can't eat. I lie in bed, my eyes wide open. I'll fall asleep and sort of wake up all the time. I don't want to do anything I used to do. I don't want to do yoga. I don't want to read about spirituality. It actually makes me sick. I don't want to talk to people. I just want to be alone. I don't really see the point. Everything seems pointless, really. That was where I was, and I thought, right, just lay it all out on the table, right? Just give it all to her because she's going to know what to do with that. And she just looked at me and she went, wow. I was just like, I was finished when she said that, because I was like, is that like a term that therapists use to make people feel better? Because like, that just made me feel like even more alone. Wow, she said. I remember thinking, how can a therapist say that? Like, I lost hope in her, but I also felt like, well, if she hadn't heard of this stuff before, like this, you know, pregnancy depression, am I just like alone on this journey? Anyway, I left there and she made me feel worse and it was horrible, and it was funny, it's the worst thing ever actually. And lucky for me, that was at around 11 weeks. So I had one more week, but I didn't know it at the time, to contend with this emotional numbness. It was so difficult to be there because I felt alone. And that is one of the things about depression. When you feel like you're the only one, and you really are not. It's just nobody speaks about pregnancy depression. Nobody speaks about these early days. You're meant to be like joyful and happy and exuberant and glowing. Like, they don't speak about that. But I want to speak about it because it took me through a dark tunnel in my life that I will never ever forget that feeling. When I was in it, I remember saying to myself, well, you could maybe in the future help somebody else through this. Because I mean, I couldn't help somebody if I didn't know what I was feeling or if I hadn't been through this feeling. We usually help each other if we've been through something, right? If we've been through something, we've come out the other side and we go, guess what? It's okay. I've been there. It's going to get better. That's how we help each other. And so for me to be able to sit here and tell you, guess what? You're going to be okay. It's going to pass. This is a common thing. Lots of people have it. They don't talk about it. People don't talk about it, but they have it. That's going to help you. I look back and I think, oh my gosh, if I had only had BetterHelp at the time, if I'd only had somebody there to say to me, let's talk through this. How are you feeling? Like, it's very common, by the way, just FYI. But even though it's common, I know you still want to talk about it. Like, how do you feel? It was such a strange thing, depression, because you feel alone, you feel dark, you have all these nobody feels what I feel, I'm all alone in this, and I'm not meant to be, right? I'm meant to be glowing and beautiful and lovely and pregnant, and so it was tough. And for me, if somebody had shared this, and I had seen a video that said depression during pregnancy, and I had seen some mom talking about what they went through, it would have helped me so much, because I would have just thought, right, this is a thing. This is a thing. It happens. It's okay. It's going to pass. And I wouldn't have been so scared that I would never feel the same again. I remember dreaming, like I said to my other half, like, I wish I could be happy. I wish I could be walking down the beachfront with my sisters and just going to go and get an ice cream. Now, as mad as that sounds now, the idea of eating ice cream was so repulsive for me, but the thought, I could think, wouldn't it be nice if I could just think of eating ice cream and be happy about the idea of eating ice cream? And then he got so excited, he said, do you want to go and get some ice cream? And I was like, no. But I wished in the back of I wished that I did. Anyway, at 12 weeks, exactly 12 weeks, it's like everything lifted. And I remember the moment, because up until then, I thought everything was ugly. I didn't see any joy or beauty in anything. It was just this dark, horrible place that I existed in. And that day, we were in London, driving through Kensington, and it had been raining, and the sun was coming through the rain. And you know how the sun comes through and it makes those beautiful kind of rainbow, glistening raindrops? So the sun's coming through the rain, and we drove past this beautiful road filled with iceberg roses, and I looked over, and the roses looked so beautiful. And for the first time in 6 weeks, I saw beauty in something. And I was like, well, stop the car. Please get me a rose. And my other half jumps out of the car. He picks a rose, which obviously is illegal, but this was like different times, right? So he needed to get the rose, and he brought the rose to me, and it had still like little raindrops left on it. And I put those rose petals that were soft and wet to my nose. I smelled them, and I was like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. And I knew it had lifted. And I just suddenly saw things differently. I could see beauty again. It was the most beautiful moment for me. And I just want to tell you guys out there, if you're going through what I went through, 6 weeks is a long time. 1 day, 2 days is when you're feeling biorhythmically out of joint, yeah, and you're just like, okay, I need to go and do something to change my energy, to make me feel good or inspire me. This is different, because when you feel something for 1 week, 2 weeks, it's a long time, and when it goes on for something like 6 weeks, it's tough. And to be able to talk about it, to be able to connect with somebody who is going through it, is the most helpful thing on this planet. It's like that human connection, like, yeah, I got you, I went there, and you just want to hear it. I wanted to hear it, but I never did. So I hope this sharing helps you to feel it's okay, and we go through stuff. And after that, I understood what depression felt like. So I may have had it in early pregnancy. Afterwards, my pregnancy was beautiful. I had the most beautiful pregnancy and birth, and I went on to become a hypnobirthing teacher, as well as teaching, yoga and birth prep yoga for prenatal, women. And everything about the pregnancy was amazing after that. So guess what? It can not just get better, it can be the most glowing experience you will have. So just to say that you will come through it. It is a dark time, and you can, but talking is something that really helps. And I found this company, actually, they were the ones that told me about World Mental Health Day. They offer help, and I love this idea. Let me just explain it to you. you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go to some huge institution. You don't have to go to a therapist's office. You don't have to go anywhere. You literally go on your laptop. So you could be feeling that crappy feeling in your bed and thinking, I don't even want to get dressed. I don't want to put on makeup. I don't want to see anybody or anybody to see me. I don't want to connect with the world. But actually, I can go on my laptop and I can go to BetterHelp and I can scan and see what therapist might work for me. It might be just a talk therapist. It might be a counselor. And I can connect with them and I can talk and see how that conversation and really sharing what I feel helps from the comfort of my home, my bed, or wherever I am. And I know that if I had known about something like that, or if it existed back then, I don't even know if it did, I would have used it. And I know that it's an opportunity for many people, not just, depression during pregnancy or depression during times where you think, hey, am I the only one that's ever experienced this? Because that makes you feel even more depressed. Depression, you feel sick literally by everything and everything around you. In fact, I think I hated my partner. I was like, I feel so bad for him, but at the time I was like, oh, and I don't like you either. It was tough. It's really tough to digest those feelings. There's always that thing in the back of your head. Why am I feeling like this? Like, please, somebody help me. So that's my share for you guys. It's the first time I've ever shared about that, and I'm really hoping that it connects with some people who need it. World Mental Health Day, and just sharing helps us to help others. So if you have a story that you want to share, please share it. When somebody hears that story, they're going to go forward and go, yes, I'm not alone. And you know that you can always email me. So sonia@soniadoubell.com. I am always here to help. To all of you out there, I hope this was helpful and that you are going to either contact BetterHelp, or maybe just the story was enough for you, or send me an email. So sending you lots of love out there. Be strong. Namaste, everyone.